Hi everyone, welcome to Dave's Bonsai. On today's episode, I just need to work on some trees. It's the tail end of a wintry pattern here in Minnesota. I'll take you outside to some photographs that I took earlier. The snow came and actually started as rain. We've got over 30 inches of snow on the tip of the North Shore past Duluth, Minnesota. Here we got rain for a full day yesterday, some rain last night, finally turned into snow after midnight, and we've had about 3, maybe 4 inches of snow. The snow is on the benches, the snow is on the trees. One of those days where we almost had a snow day with school. Now where I live, the school district where I live had a snow day, but where I teach, they did not. We did not, so we had to go to work. And I wish we would have had a snow day, not so much to get off of work, which would have been a lovely thing, but to go outside and take some pictures. The trees this morning were unbelievably gorgeous. It's one of those really wet snows where every branch, every limb, every leftover leaf, everything's covered in snow, and it was absolutely stunning. I'd have loved to take a hike and go see some trees. And so I got a few images of the snow in my backyard. Always lovely to take a walk when you have that kind of pretty snowfall. I do have an update on what's happened to some of the trees outside where I'm keeping them for the winter.
It's our second significant snow of the winter. It's been snowing for over 24 hours, off and on. But it's really wet. Streets are still wet. Thought I'd give you an update on the trees, though. Here's the big amber maple. And other than the 2 little sprigs at the top, right there and there, you'll notice the trunks are bare. The rabbits have been busy. I didn't fence this one in and I'm paying the price. The boxwoods are hilled in nice between the garden plots there, garden beds. Austrian pine back there. The black spruce and the tamaracks are doing just fine. Nice coat of snow on the other boxwoods. Back around the corner, got all the Korean pines doing fine back by the fence. Here's some more of the boxwoods, healed in nicely. The snow has put a nice coat on there. Inside here, the rabbits don't get into, so that quake and aspen is fine. There's the other emery maple, and all of the branches are doing fine. The lilac bush doing fine, collecting some snow on what branches remain. The big tamarack seems to be just fine. Can you see it? There's one of the other quake and aspens in a pot. And the rabbit chewed right down to where I wrapped it. Right there. It's a stub in a pot. The Siberian fir, though, is fine. And when we walk around here, these are the quakens I got from the cabin on that cabin trip with the aerial footage. And look right there. Chopped right there. Chopped right there. These are protected a few inches up. They've left them alone so far, but those are those chops right there and back there. Look at that. So they're just getting on their hind legs. So I should have fenced this in as well. I might have to do that this weekend. It's been so warm that the bubbler alone has kept the pond open for the most part. Partly frozen, partly bubbling. It's a winter wonderland. But it's quiet. Everything seems to be at peace.
as I wrap up season 4 of Dave's Bonsai with this episode, you know, the critters have been a story all year long, and lo and behold, the critters are still giving my trees a hard time. So as some of that footage showed, some of the trees, right where the wrap is ended is where the tree was chopped down to. So all my decisions were made for me on those particular trees, and we'll see what happens in the spring as they push out some new growth. I think most everything will be okay. I might put some fences around those quaking aspen trees. They're a little high in that strawberry patch garden bed where they're sitting up kind of high. So as the snow gets thicker, the rabbits are just going to get higher and still need more live trees and to get to that cambium layer for the yummy treats inside. The critters continue, and this time strictly not mice, strictly rabbits so far. So today, back inside, I just have to work on a tree. So we had to leave for work a little bit earlier than normal because of the snow, and the ride was a little bit treacherous in. Had kind of an emotional work meeting to start the day. First hour, something else happened that got my attention and took me out of my classroom. And then, you know, it's like it's a full moon out there with how the kids are, because this is the last full week of school. And I'm telling you, teachers and students alike, we are ready for our long winter's break. The holiday break is coming up. Next Wednesday is our last day, the first day of winter. When the Winter Solstice kicks in is when our last day of school is before the holiday break. And so we're going to usher in the official first day of winter as we wrap up another work session for this calendar year anyway. And I have about 12 days off, which is lovely. I'll never complain about my teacher hours. But it was one of those days. The snow was beautiful. I would have loved to be with the snow. I had to go to work. You're feeling kind of like, oh, and it was just one of those days. And so after one of those days, there is nothing better than diving into a couple of trees. The first tree that I'm going to work on today is just a little bit of nip and tuck. So I have all these Premnas from a workshop we did now a year plus ago, a year and a half, in the summer of 2021. And the Premnas also had some critter chop, and we did some air layering to save some. And this is one of the trees where the bottom of this one is not so bad. It's not in bad shape, but there was a big cut right here. And I have this tree really swooped this way, but I love how this branch right here is going the other direction. And then now we've got this long growth here and this long growth here and here. I want to make this, I think, into a windswept tree. I really like the windswept look on some of the artwork out there that you can find. There's some really, really neat images. And I've tried in a couple of trees. And, you know, you're kind of at the mercy of how the tree grows and then how, of course, you take care of it. And then if you're not a wirer, sometimes growing trees in that specific of a direction can be very, very hard with clip and grow. But we're going to go ahead and clip and grow this one more time to make it a little bit more, hopefully, adventitious to lean towards a windswept design. Now, the trunk went this way for whatever reason, but it was pounded with wind and everything's going that way. And so I'm going to kind of go with that kind of whoa kind of feel, so you can kind of feel that movement over there. So right away, as you look at this tree, that's probably the front at the moment. We have this branch right back here going the completely wrong direction. So we're going to go ahead and come in here, and we're going to look where that one's growing. And we're going to get these glasses off so I can get real good and close here. Yeah, this one's just going a completely direction we don't really want right now. So we're going to cut that one off. Let me see where that stub is. It's a stub from before. There we go. So you can see this really swooping around this way, like the wind's going to take it this way. And so that is awesome, right? And then we're going to leave this for now because it's growing really well. Now, as I cut that one off, I noticed at the top of this tree, look at this one right here. Very common for these Premnas. You'll get these Premnas will have all these leaves that go in multiple different directions, and all of a sudden a branch will take about face the other direction. So this is the branch right here that goes up or towards your left, and it goes this way, and then it kind of cuts up here. And here's the old cut point right here, and right below the cut point, boom, boom, a huge split in growth. Well, this one's going the wrong way if it's a windswept tree, so let's get that one out of there. So there we go. So now this branch has this original cut over here, and this is all new growth since the last time I pruned it. So that's 2 inches, maybe 1.5, 2 inches. The one I cut off is a little bit bigger, and we've got this stump right here. We're just gonna make sure that's nice and tight. So now we have that going this way. This comes over here and curves this way. So look at that growth. And this is curving this way, new growth, this one, this one. So everything's going that way. And of course, we'll eventually want to have an upper layer here too, which is this one right here. So let's go to that one right now. Well, we have one growing this way. We don't want that. So let's take that off, which leaves one that's kind of growing towards the camera right now, but it could curve this way as well. So now we're going to leave that alone. We've got a branch growing back here. Look at that, going the wrong way. Let's just cut that off. And then this one right here is also growing the wrong way if we're going to have a windswept design. We want this branch to be bare on this side and curve over this way. Now my dilemma here is this branch versus this branch. So let's show it to you from the side. We've got a split here, but this one already divides into two. Let's just take this one off. Let's just get rid of that one so everything wants to lean this way. And eventually, again, with many of these perennials, the way they can take off, they'll just shoot out a runner here like these right here, and we can have all this tree growing this way, and then make some cuts and get a couple other branches growing up and hopefully growing that way. And right now, I have all this kind of angled this way, except for this guy right here. So look at this branch. Let's cut that one right off. Yeah. So I am literally making this forced into a clip and grow windswept tree. This one's leaning a little bit back, so let's cut this one off. And now this one's going to have more energy, hopefully, to shoot straight out. There's a new bud right there by this leaf I'm cutting off that looks like it's ready and poised to go that way. I'm going to cut this leaf out here that's growing this way. We can cut this one off as well. This one's kind of growing back. A lot of these leaves will grow back in the opposite direction. We'll just have to cut all those out. Go ahead and cut this one out. There's a little branch back here that's going down, an old cut point. So now this one's clashing with this right here. We might need this one up here to do more. I'm going to go ahead and cut this one just for right now, and we'll see which ones grow that way as we prune this and giving it some more energy. So in the back here, I've got a branch that's growing a little bit more back towards you right now, but not towards the direction we want. So we'll go ahead and cut that off. Here's another funky backs leaf. Look at some of these leaves going point in exactly the back direction. We don't really want any of those to be gaining any vigor per se. So we've got a couple that are going down here. Yeah, look at that big one right there. Big leaf. Okay. So we have kind of a split here. And there's one again coming towards you and one going to my left, your right. Let's cut this big tip going out there off and promote this coming out here some more. And we'll see which ones end up going that direction. Okay, so that looks pretty good on that one. We've got a nice little windswept tree going on right now. I'm just going to cut this little stub off there. These two are really competing, so I don't know if we cut this back right here now and let it grow up a little bit, and then hopefully it goes that way. Just let them both grow for a little while. See right in here, there's another leaf that's growing backwards towards me right now, away from the camera. There's a couple of them here. Some of these, these perennials can get so thick with foliage. It's unreal. And what's been interesting this year with some of my perennials is they've had a lot of kind of dieback naturally, where the leaves kind of get all dry and fall off, and then all of a sudden it pushes out a whole bunch of new little growth, which is kind of nice to see, because now I know I could probably defoliate one of these perennials completely and it's going to grow back. So that's awfully nice to know as well. We got a little bit of messiness down here with some new growth right there. We got one going down right here. I don't know how this branch will continue the flow of the windswept. Look, we've got a little tiny one really close to the trunk right there. That's not going to go the right direction. We've got a little one right there. We kind of clean up this little edge right there, and we're going to hope that this one goes that way. So this is the only one that's now not kind of going this way. We've got a split right there, so let's take away Your right, my left, split, and now it's aiming this way. And look at this one right here. That one's poised to go to my right, your left, and continue all this flowing tree. So there we have it. I don't think we need to do really much more with this unless there's a couple more leaves I get rid of, like this big one right there. But we have a tree that's kind of, it's growing up this way, and then all of a sudden nature has just made it go back this way, and we can get this big old tree this way. Let me show you my best inspiration for a windswept tree from a piece of art I picked up a couple years ago. Let me grab that real quick. Here's my inspiration for windswept trees. This was a piece of art that I found up in northern Minnesota on a cabin trip one time, and I saw this person's art, and he had a whole bunch of different sizes, and I tried to connect with this guy. I found him and I said, hey, do you do any, can you make any specific trees? Do you do any commission work? Are there any places you sell these? And he just is so busy that he just sells what he has to the stores around the country, and there happened to be one little store in northern Minnesota where we go sometimes. And look at this thing going this way. Such a fun little piece. And so there's mine. There's the art piece. I've got a long way to go, but we're aiming for that. I love that piece of art. It just says so much, and I hope this tree can say something like that as well. So there's tree number one. This is doing well down here in the plant room, as many of my Prevenas are. There's a new bud going the wrong way. We'll just cut that right off. We'll let this continue to grow to light. I'll put it in a spot that makes this want to grow towards the light and encourage that windswept look. So I'll do that next and put it on the bench where the light can pull it its direction. Tree number one was the Premna. Tree number two is this trio here, and this is one of my Ficus. It looks very similar to my tiger bark Ficus. It's too big of leaves to be a melon seed. It looks very tiger bark like, and I think it might be. I got this one from my buddy Henry. It's from Henry Two Bonsai, and just saw Henry at our December gathering where we had a wonderful meal and socialized and talked bonsai for a couple of hours. But Henry gave me a couple of cuttings about 4 months ago or so, at the end of summer anyway, and or middle of summer maybe. And he just gave me some of his trees, and he's just been so generous, and he'll just give me some trees. His way of thanking me for some of the stuff that I've done over at his house, he just always gives me some stuff. He brought a rock over recently, and I got a new rock from him. I don't know where I put that rock, but I have this triple tiger bark Ficus. Now, I recently did a tiger bark Ficus where I took it from its like broom shape and kind of spread it out. Let's show you that one for an update on that, and then we'll work on this tree, and I'll tell you what I'm thinking about for this one. So here is my update on the tiger bark Ficus that I repotted and did a lot of work, a little bit of wiring here as you can see as well, to get this thing off to a good new start. I was able to get rid of some of the old center chop piece right here, dug that out a little bit, cut a couple of branches off. And it's one of those times where like I'm in my plant room and I'm doing some cutting and I'm just wondering what this thing's gonna do in the near future. And it didn't grow right away, but boy, when it was ready, all of a sudden it started to pop some new growth. So this has been really fun to see. So I can point out some of the new growth to you right now because it's been a long time since I think I updated this one, but you've got this nice growth right here and this growth right here in my chopstick. This is a really nice piece of growth right here, but it's growing real close to this one. But it's just nice to have this thing thickening up. As I spin it around this way, we have this is new growth, there's new growth in here. These were just kind of a treetop right here, but we've got light green all the way here. There's light green in here, light green in this tip right there. And then back over on this side, there's some light green over here and a couple of buds right there. So I'm hoping to get maybe something in here. I'd love to get some back bud in here to add to this branch, but it's got some real fun movement now. And then you'll even see just a little bit of, here's a new leaf right here, and there's a bud right behind it ready to take off again. So this has turned into just a nice little slow grower, and this will, I think, look really nice and bushy by the time spring rolls around. We'll get it outside, and then hopefully this thing will just explode with growth. That is the tiger bark Ficus that I put in a pot here, this pot, and did a little bit of wiring to make this thing spread out more just a few months ago. That's the bigger tiger bark ficus. That has a nice trunk of about 1 to 1.5 inches for sure. And this one, we're just gonna check the roots on this one, and I think what I'm gonna do is I wanna make a clump style. Now it is a kind of a mini forest of 3, and you'll notice I got a sucker growing right here, makes it 4. We like odd numbers in our forest when they're under like 21, under 15 maybe, under 18, 17. Once you get more than 17, 18, it's hard to see if it's odd or not. But when it's like 3, 5, 7, 9, 11, yeah, we like the odd numbers. So these trees in and of themselves are okay, and they're doing well, they're growing. But what we're gonna do is we're gonna take out this soil, and we're gonna take out these trees, and we're gonna maybe put them together with a little bit of string here. I've got some twine that we're going to put these together and make more of a triple trunk where I hope it'll fuse together over time. So we're going to go ahead and get rid of some of the soil here. Let me see if I tied it in. Nope, I didn't tie this one in. So this was given to me, again, from my friend Henry. And I believe I put them in this pot real quick. And these were just cuttings that I got rid of from his pot. And we just put them in here. All right. Now, I likely am going to put it right back in this same pot. I just want to see what the roots are doing and go from there. Look at all that tree right there, and look at how many little bit of roots there are. So I really don't have to trim any roots off of this one right here. I could make this one long one a little bit shorter as it sticks and clings onto that little soil right there. Sure, we can go like this. There we go. There's tree number 1. So what's nice about that is the bumps on this side, and that's where there's no roots. So this could be put close to another tree and we could do all right. You'll see this is the new growth, and it's kind of making a little bit of a bulge there, so we might take that little growth off. Now we got these 2 other ones, and I see a lot of roots in here, so something's going to be showing us, I think, some roots. So we're going to go ahead and separate these out. Here we go. Okay, this is the next one. Just a little bit more roots on this guy. Not a ton, but looking good. This one has actually a nice, decent nabari. It's not too bad for a solo tree here. But again, we're gonna kind of put these together. This root is too high. We've got a couple of high roots here, so we're gonna cut off some of those high roots. We don't want those real high ones. Got a bit of a nub right there. And by cutting this open, if this happens to be touching the next tree, maybe that's where they're gonna maybe fuse together here. So there's another. Again, if this is tiger bark, it sure kind of has a resemblance to it. And I don't remember what Henry said. So there's tree number 2. And then this one, obviously, look at the foliage on that one. This one has taken off. Now, this was potted a little bit deep in the pot, perhaps, because these trees all have really high roots. Now, we're going to cut off this big, thick one. We're going to cut off that big, thick one. This is too high in the tree. We don't want that high. All right. So we've got some dangly roots here on this guy that we can go ahead and make shorter, and then we're going to kind of put our trees together and see what we've got. Here we have our 3 trees all out of the pot, and we are going to go ahead and we are going to twine them together, and we're going to make a clump style tree with a multi-trunk. One of the great things about going on nature walks, checking out trees, is you see trees of all different varieties. I was just looking through some of my photographs from the last several years of taking walks in the neighborhood and such, and there's just so many different concoctions of trees and how they grow, both on the vacations I've taken in my neighborhood, and you just never know what a tree's going to do to survive and get to that sunlight and grow. And so sometimes I've commented about this a lot. People will have interesting things to say about, that doesn't really look like a tree, or do trees grow that way? And darn right they do. You never know how trees are going to actually end up growing. So we have a root system on this one that has a lot of roots over here on this side, my right. And look at how it's a little bit more bare there. And this has a little bit more roots over there, and it's kind of bare right there. Look at those 2 right there that can form this tree right now, right there. And you're seeing it from that side. Those inner branches will probably be coming off someday, but that forms a really nice radial root pattern right off the bat right there. And then we still have this 3rd one that we can kind of maybe sandwiched right in here somewhere. Let me see if I can get that one sandwiched in right there. And then we have this trunk system here, and see what we can do. It looks like we have a little bit of, there we go. So now we can see the trunk split just above my fingers, right in there. I've got this little thing right here that will probably cut off. I think I'm going to do that right away. Just cut that one off. And there we have 3 trunks with a pretty decent radial root pattern. So look at that radial root pattern with this tree now. And then we can put that in the pot. Look at that. And so how fun is that? Okay, so we're going to go ahead and we're going to wrap this twine around a couple of times over the roots, not attacking the roots, attaching the roots. And we're going to wrap this around a couple of times. And the hard part about this is not having that third hand, right? This is when I need my buddy Henry here from Henry Two Bonsai to take the trees that he gave me and help me to secure them into this new design. All right, so if we pull tight and pull tight, all right, there we have it. Let's see if I can set it down and give it a nice taut fit. And then this will slowly get tighter with it as it grows older in the next year or so, and then start to disintegrate there in the water and the soil and the watering in the soil, and then we probably will be able to take it off in not too long of a time. All right. So let's take a peek at our tree. All right. Now I might be able to move these out a little bit too, and just spread them out just a little bit, like this, right? We could put a rock in there to let these trees grow out a little bit, but there I just separated them a little bit and twisted them around a little bit, and we still have our nice ramified roots. We've got one sticking up right here with my movement. We don't want that one sticking up like that. All right. So there's our tree right there. Got a little bit longer roots on this side. There's that thicker one. All right. Okay, so we have that there. We'll go ahead and give ourselves some soil. There we go. We have our multi-trunk clump-style ficus tree, which might be tiger bark. And we're going to go ahead and secure it with some more soil. All the roots are where I want them. Because this is in my plant room, I won't have to worry about tying this down. There aren't going to be any gale force winds anytime soon in my plant room. So this tree should start to take root and hold on to this soil really nice over the course of the next couple of months. And then we'll get it ready for awesome spring growth. So there we have a clump-style tree that all of a sudden now looks like a little bit more full of a tree than just having 3 trees in a pot. We've got this nice clump style. Okay, and as we spin it around, we don't know where these new shoots are going to grow. But we will take off a couple of crossing branches. So if you look into this tree right here, we've got this branch right here. It's a super young one, and it's crossing way deep inside. We're going to take that one out. Oh, that one did not go very well. Look at that, I pulled it too hard. Let's make sure that that's in there where it needs to be. Yeah, I want to tamp that down again a little bit. Where's my... There we go. We just got a little too aggressive there and pulled that one out, forgetting that I didn't tie these in, right? So it's going to come out. That chopstick's a little bit fat. There we go. Now it laid pretty flat in there, so there's not a whole lot tamping going on. When I get some water in here, that's going to also hold it down a little bit better too. All right, so there we have, and again, we can play with this now that it's twined together. Maybe we can put that like that. Put this one back out like this, and there we have a nice tree with multiple splittings. I think we have this one tree right here, this branch blocking that next one, so let's get rid of that one. Let me pull out a little bit slower here. There we go. And let's just leave it at that for right now. And then we're going to go ahead and just make a couple of short clips up here. We've got some nice new growth, but it's a little top heavy. So we'll cut some of those off. And we'll cut a couple of these back down to size. And I just spread this tree out and didn't really consider what's going to be the front. So maybe this will be the front someday. This would not be the front with that branch growing right at us, but could that be the front? Could this be the front? Could this be the front? We have some choices in the future after we see how this one is going to grow as a clump here. So we've got it all twined together right above the soil line. So unfortunately, seeing that is a little unsightly. We can put a little mound of dirt right there. We won't see that so predominantly. Let's put it in our watering tray holder and give it some water and see if that settles in there real nice. Now this one's growing on the back end of my bench over here by the north-facing window, so we're going to put it right back over there so it's getting a lot of that natural light even though it's north-facing, and also some of the artificial light from my great big LEDs that I put in this year. And there we have it. We have a really nice little triple trunk clump-style tree out of 3 just ordinary little trees, and I think that that's just going to be a little bit more fun to play around with and see if those can fuse together, and we'll get a really fun tiger bark ficus with multi-trunks here, triple trunks. Get these 2 pieces of soil out of there. There we go. I like that. All right. That can be a lot of fun in the future. We have a couple more little stubs here. We can cut those off. Oops, that one I just broke off as I opened up the scissors. There we go. Okay. Oop, one more in the back here. Thanks to Henry for donating these trees this past summer, and now we've got a clump style, and we're going to follow its progression over the next winter months here, as winter officially starts here in about a week, just under a week, and then next spring when we get this outside, hopefully we can get that massive push of growth everywhere, and this one will be fun to watch over the coming months. Tiger bark ficus, clump style. My first plant room update for you, since we just did the multi-trunk tiger bark ficus, I thought I'd show you the Schefflera that I did the same thing on about a month ago, maybe not even that long ago. I put these 2 Schefflera cuttings from my mother-in-law Schefflera, and I tied these with some twine to get the twin trunk there. And I just wanted to show it to you real quick because of this really lovely new growth right here since we've done that. So that has pushed up. Now this is growing inside towards the trunk, and this one leans inside. But again, keeping this thing healthy, I'm not going to worry about that right now. I'm not going to cut anything right now. It's just a twin trunk that's taken off, and a nice little update to show you that everything's alive and kicking. This is another young shoot here. So this one, and this one are the 3 newest. These 2 for sure since I put it in here. So everything's enjoying life with the Schefflera. So there's a quick update for you on the mother-in-law cutting of a cutting Schefflera twin trunk. My last update for the day is the Molina. So the Molina, on my last episode with this guy right here, we did a couple of really big guy wires to pull these branches down. We cut off a great big section right there. We wired just a little bit to spread those out a little bit, and I wanted to show you the update. Now, since all of that work, there was a little stress on the tree, and we've lost some leaves. They've kind of fallen off, but look at the growth since we did this. This right here has taken off from this branch right here that we left on. It's really, really nice growth here, and I think at least this much of it is brand new. So that's really phenomenal. And if we look really closely on the backside right here, underneath where we guy wired it, right here there's another little bit of growth there. Now it's kind of opposite of this one, so almost like one of those, T branches, those bar branches. But that one's growing down lower, this one's higher. And if this is the front, that one will be just good texture back there. You wouldn't even see the bar branch in that case. So that's that right there. This is also new growth right here, about a ½ an inch or so. There's new growth right here and here. This is brand new leaves coming out right there. Super fine, and that's all new growth. That full inch or so is new since we cut this thing up and we put the guy wires on here. And then there's a little tiny leaf underneath this one right there shooting up. Here's where we clipped it. So we got new growth growing right there, and this one's still alive and kicking. And we've got, look at this, new bud back here that could grow up here and fill this space here if we kept it, but it's awful close to the trunk. And there's a little leaf right there. So look at those leaves right there, boom and boom. And there's one on top here, super tiny by my chopstick, one behind right here by my chopstick. So a lot of new growth. Way up here, look at that one right there. There's 1, 2, 3 new buds right there. We could cut all of this off down the road because we know we're gonna get growth there, but we're not cutting it tonight, right? And even right here by this cluster of 3 leaves, there's some new growth right underneath here, right by this wire here. I'm feeling so much better. It's really, really good. And then one of the viewers had contacted me through the message and said, hey, can I get a little bit of a saw right here and cut this down and make more of a V shape instead of this U shape? So the next time we work on this tree, I might go ahead and do that because this won't heal that fast, and we'll be able to cut a little bit of an indent in there to make this look a little bit more natural. And so there's the update of the Molina. A lot of new little buds and some shooting out ones, like this branch right here is loving life, and so I'm so happy about that. I was a little nervous after the powerful chops and the guy wiring and the wire, and I'm super happy that it's all doing really, really well. The winter wonderland outside is looking pretty still. It was slushy and wet. We got the driveway shovel, thank goodness, and the trees outside are all in protection mode right now, and I've got to maybe protect some of those trees from those rabbits, but everything out there is looking good. Everything in here is looking good. We were able to work on a couple of trees, make a clump-style tiger bark. That was fun. A windswept tree, and a couple of wonderful updates. So, this was great. This was a day that I needed to just spend a good hour or two in the plant room and just escape within the trees, the zen, becoming one with my trees. I'm glad you could hang out with me during my zen of trees, but that is going to wrap it up. So hey, take care of you, take care of your bonsai, and we're going to catch you very soon on the next one, which just might be a premiere, and it just might be on the first day of the winter solstice, which would be Wednesday, December the 21st. I hope to see you then with a show working on, well, time will tell. All right, take care.